What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Godly Potential YouTube channel. Back with another video. So I just made this video. I'm gonna try to do it again. The audio is kind of messed up, so move the mic up here closer and hopefully it'll sound a lot better. Try not to do so much moving and scratching the mic, but anyway, let's get into it. So this video I decided to make because I feel it'll be very helpful for maybe one, a few, or maybe many people who stumble across this video. This video is inspired by initially the topic of self-love, but you can relate this to multiple things. And as I get into it, it will make more sense. Let me adjust this. Hopefully it'll make more sense. So, try not to move. So to open up this this topic, I want to start with an illustration, right? Two different illustrations. Okay. So, first one, you have two birds, right? One bird is flying around, it's doing its thing, no worries, it's soaring. It could fly effortlessly and no issues. You have the next bird, same thing, no issues. But the second bird goes to the first bird and says, "Hey man, you got to start flying." First bird goes, "What? What are you talking about?" And it's like, "Yeah, man, you got to start flying." And the first bird like, "Well, I thought I was flying." The second bird like, "Nah, man, I don't know. It looks weird when you do it. Like, I don't know. You probably doing something wrong." Then the second bird flies off. And as the second bird is flying off, the first bird looks at the second bird and it goes, "Wow, like, yeah, he looks pretty effortlessly and majestic when he's flying, right? Maybe that's how I'm supposed to do it." And so the first bird becomes super critical about how he flies and how he takes flight and how he lands and all this shit, to the point where he's trying to emulate the second bird, but while simultaneously doing so, it's fucking up its own flight, right? And now the first bird doesn't even know it's fucked up. It can't fly anymore, right? It's so hindered by the idea that it was doing it wrong all along, and by trying to mimic or mirror the second bird, that it's fucked up itself. But what the first bird didn't consider was that there are two different types of birds, right? The first bird's an eagle. The second bird's a pigeon. They didn't consider that, okay? So the first bird is just... So the first bird is soaring. It's the eagle. It's soaring above the storms, right? It's literally flying above clouds watching the storm happen. And the pigeon, it's on its two little feet and it flies around from fucking, I don't know, ledge to ledge, just shitting on things and people, right? But because the eagle, the first bird, allowed that examination or that critique or that opinion of that pigeon, that second bird, to seep into its consciousness, that is now it's fucking itself up, right? That's the first story, or the first illustration. The second illustration is, you have this small fish, right? This little fish, it was hanging around a bunch of his friends and they were talking about this thing called the ocean, right? And so one day, the small fish like, you know what, I'm finna go find this thing they call the ocean, right? So it swims up to the bigger fish, and he swims up to the bigger fish and he goes, "Hey, can you help me with this? I'm looking for something." And the bigger fish goes, "Well, what are you looking for?" And the smaller fish goes, "Well, I'm looking for this thing called the ocean." Okay? Excuse me. So the bigger fish goes, "Well, what are you looking for?" And the smaller fish goes, "I'm looking for the ocean. Can you help me find that?" And the bigger fish is like, like, "This is the ocean. What are you talking about?" And the smaller fish goes like, no. Like, trust me, I'm looking for something called the ocean. I've heard that it's huge. I heard it's filled with this thing called water. I don't know what it is, but it sounds exciting. I'm looking for the ocean. And the bigger fish is just so confused. Who's like, "Look, this is the ocean." And the bigger fish swam off. But the younger fish like, "Nah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm about to go find this thing they call the ocean, because it's got to be amazing, as they say it is." And that's the second illustration, right? So what does this got to do with self-love, right? So it is my belief, it is my opinion, I had a realization yesterday that oftentimes when it comes to self-love or other situations, you can tie it into this, we will see others behaving in a certain way, portraying certain things, certain attributes, certain abilities, certain talents, gifts, and all this and that, right? You may see a person who can public speak with ease. It's like, wow, they can do that because they're comfortable within themselves. They're comfortable within themselves because they love themselves. Wow, I can public speak. That means I'm not comfortable within myself. That means I don't love myself, right? And I believe that we often play this game so many times with like just all kind of shit like that. It's like, wow, I feel insecure. I don't feel as handsome or as pretty as I probably should, but that person, they always have confidence. They know that they look good. It's because they love themselves. Well, damn, it must mean that I don't love myself. When really you may just be having a fucking off day. You know, you may just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, as they say, right? You may just, I don't know, you may just feel like shit that day, right? Your energy may be low, or you might have on an outfit that doesn't it doesn't look right to you, right? It could be a plethora of shit. So also too, I had a comment on the video said I curse a lot. It's kind of unbearable, but I don't give a fuck. So I'm gonna just keep on cursing because that's how I talk. That's how I communicate. To me, curse words are like exclamation marks and periods and all that shit, right? And growing up or being in the military, that culture, it is what it is. But anyway, but yeah, so I feel like that's the thing that we do, that we can get caught up in. We will see others behaving in a certain way and we associate that with being self-love or being confidence or being bravery, right? Let's look at that, right? So I went to the Grand Canyon recently, and while out there, a buddy of mine, he's real, like, he's fucked up when it comes to heights, right? And so when he's seen the shit, like, whoa, I mean, because let me tell you, dude, this shit it's phenomenal. Like, if you haven't seen the Grand Canyon, you should definitely go check it out. But it is huge. It is literally grand. It's like majestic. And so when you look at it, if you're looking down, I don't know how deep this thing goes, but it goes down for a while. And anybody with a certain fear of heights would feel that fear. And me, I don't even have a fear of heights, but I seen it. I still, like, the body goes through the sensation. So seeing that, my buddy, he sees like little kids out there, right, running around, or teenagers, right, and they go out there and they're on the edge, like they're walking to the very front. You're like, damn, dude, them fuckers, they're brave. And I was like, no. For the little kid, they're not brave. Like, they just don't see that as being a danger, right? So it's not really bravery if you don't do things in spite of the fear. It's not, right? It's not a challenge at that point. But we will see that it's like I had the example, like, so somebody that's out there public speaking, right? If you see somebody that can do that with ease, maybe they're just an extroverted person, maybe they develop that ability and they can pretty much speak in public with ease, right? Maybe they grew up with a big family and they're used to speaking in front of their family like that as a kid. But we'll see that, we're like, well, fuck, they can do that easily. But when I attempt to do it, I feel all these negative, unwanted emotions within me. Well, fuck, that's confidence. I don't have that. When really, they never had that inability to do it. So it's not really confidence. They're just being themselves. Okay? And this is really just pointing out when we take on labels and shit. It's like you have a kid who is a ball of energy, and this kid likes to play sports and he's into all these things and yada yada yada. But this kid goes to school and he can't concentrate, right? When the teacher's teaching, because the teacher isn't a great teacher as far as being entertaining, informative, all those different things, right? The teacher is very linear. The teacher is very black and white when it comes to the information. So the teacher can't keep the child's attention. And so what do they say? Well, there must be something wrong with the child, because all the other kids, they can sit still, but this child can't. So ADD, ADHD, you've been diagnosed with this attention deficit disorder. Okay? Now if the kid takes on that label, and if the parents take on that label for the child, then that label it can seep into the consciousness of that kid and become a issue that it deals with. Okay? Just because of that label. And now from that point, the kid's like, well, fuck, I need to be able to have more self-control. I need to be able to find peace. I need to be able to do this or that. And so now this kid is looking for solutions to overcome this, when really that's just who you are. And actually that's one of your superpowers that you can use to do whatever it is that you need to do with here. Okay? And like, same thing with like anxiety and stuff. I wonder if when somebody says they have anxiety, social anxiety, is that the same thing that I felt when I had anxiety one time, right? One time I was in the northern tier state. I was really taking a road trip, driving across states, and in this northern tier state, it was snowing, right? And the winds were big winds, picking up heavy. And so I'm driving on this interstate, and there's very little traffic out, which is very creepy, right? No traffic. I'm not seeing any headlights. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm driving, and I see a bit like it's like a sign. It's like a weather sign or a traffic sign. It's like digital, and it says, high winds, turn back now, or exit at the nearest exit, whatever. And I'm like, well, fuck. I just drove like 30 minutes and I didn't pass anything. So if I turn back around, it may be longer going back than it is keep going forward. So I decided to keep going forward. And now I'm telling you, these winds are picking up. One lane is blocked off because the snow was all on it. So it's just really one lane open. And so I am I'm getting kind of anxious. And then I keep driving, and I see about 5 or 6 big, like 18 wheelers, right, turned over because of the high winds, right? Because you got the trailer, it's like a huge surface, right? So the wind knocks it over very easily. And so I'm seeing that, and I get nervous, I get anxious, and I'm anxious for a good 45 minutes driving through all this, right, to the nearest town. But after that happened, I was like, wow, that was some fucking anxiety. Wow, look at that. It's a big bird right there. Speaking of the example I gave. But I think to myself, I'm like, the way I just felt, is that the same anxious feeling that people feel when they say they have anxiety? And I say, I fucking doubt it. But I don't know. Because I seen the reason for having that real feeling, that very real feeling of life-threatening, right? Because if the winds picked up, if I pushed my car over, if I rolled down the hill that I was next to in the snow, no other traffic in there, it wouldn't have been a pretty situation, right? And so I'm thinking, like, I don't think that's the same type of anxiety that other people feel when they say they have like social anxiety or regular anxiety attacks. But then again, you never know. And see, that's another part of this. It's like, how do you know? There's no way of verifying or quantifying it, right? It's like, someone can say, like, let's say someone have, like, man, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I don't know. I just feel this weird feeling, right? I just feel this shit in my stomach or whatever. And someone comes along like, well, I wonder what it could be. Maybe it's anxiety. You have anxiety? Like, no, I don't. What is anxiety? And they're like, well, it's when you feel this way, your shortness of breath, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden they start breathing more shallow. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I do feel that. Well, fuck, damn. Well, I think I have anxiety. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And they accept that label of having anxiety, and they take on that. And now they actually develop anxiety, right? Or they label that as being anxiety. And it's like, how do you quantify that between each person, right? So I say all that to say, when it comes to the main topic of this video, or the initial topic of like self-love. It's like most of this shit is subjective and it's individual. It's like what success means to you is not necessarily what it means to me. To one person, success is 50 acres and a mule. To the next person, it's peace. To the next person, it'd be the top surgeon in the country, right? In their country. It's very subjective. And I feel like it's the same when it comes to self-love, when it comes to confidence, when it comes to all of these things that we're chasing. Peace, all this shit, right? Be cautious of looking to others for a standard when it comes to these things, because a lot of times you don't know if it's an illusion or not either, right? You take somebody who's like, let's say like Robin Williams, right? For those of you who don't know, he was a comedian, an actor, and I think he was a comedian, maybe just an actor, not sure, but he has passed away due to suicide. But before that, a lot of people would say, "Oh, that guy he's one happy guy, right? He's very confident. He has self-love. Look at that. He can just be himself freely, right?" But then takes himself out. So it's like, was that self-love all along? Apparently not, right? But we would look at that and say, okay, well, if that person do that and I have struggles with that, that means they have this and that means I do not have this. And so you begin to look for this ocean, but you're the fish already in the ocean, right? Because somebody has given you a description of something that is not your description. And so you go looking for that thing that they have described. But just like I said with the whole anxiety thing, someone can describe it one way, another person can describe it another way, right? One person say, well, when I feel anxiety, it's like, I don't know, shortness of breath. I don't know, it's like my chest tightens up. And yeah, I don't know. I just can't get out of my head. The next person's just like, man, I don't know. Like I get butterflies in my stomach, my hands get sweaty. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Or whatever the case may be. Okay. And the thing is, once you take on these things in your mind, they can become real. That's one of the ways to program the subconscious mind is repetition. So if you constantly think, oh, it's because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this, that's going to manifest, right? And the mind doesn't know real from fake. One time I was driving and I was like, damn, just imagine if the road just dropped off and just plummeted below. As soon as I had that thought, because I did this mental exercise, as soon as I had that thought and then I created that image in my mind, immediately my body went through anxiety. It went through fear and panic, but it wasn't real. I had to tell myself, and I started laughing. I was like, look, I literally just made that shit up in my fucking mind, and my body or my mind saw it as real, and my body responded accordingly. So be careful the ideas and shit you take on, because you may see that, and then you're like, well, that's self-love, that's confidence right there. What I have isn't. So you're that eagle flying, and you see that other pigeon. It was like, nah, that pigeon can fly. The guy just struts around, you know what I'm saying? Just drop there and drops shit on people with confidence. I can't do that. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to do it. Damn, I must not have self-love and self-respect and confidence and all this and that. Don't fall into the trap. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video. Hopefully it sounded better than the first one. Hopefully I didn't do too much moving. Hopefully it all made sense. It wasn't too much rambling. But this video was helpful. Share it, thumbs it up. But until next time, I'm out. Peace.